the way that they dehumanize women, the terms that they use.
Look, like what terms?
It's just all
exactly
things like and all of that kind of stuff. And I just think it's like,
what's all that kind of stuff though?
Sorry,
I hear you say, but what's all that other kind of stuff?
They kind of don't let.
But
Women,
do you think that they speak about women nicely? Like, do you think they're
women
respectful?
Speak on their show. They kind of like can be derogatory sometimes.
Nine out of 10 women on that show have an own account where they sell nudes for money.
Okay, but that doesn't mean that they should be talked to anyhow, or like.
But it shows the type of character that the girl is, because she takes the easy way out.
So does that mean you should talk to?
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. I will agree with you. Wait. I will agree with you that I do think they're rude at times. Like I'm a polite person, so sometimes like they can be rude, but like they're helping men, and that's their end goal.
Well,
so
can I just take issue? I mean, I've been on the show for a couple of times, and I mean, Justin's been on, and Sterling been on it more times than me, but I've been on a couple of times. I've known Myron for a few years, and like when you're there, I mean, I sort of fundamentally disagree that they're disrespectful to the women, because actually they will always give everyone an opportunity to come in.
Yes,
you know, and if a male guest actually is talking too much or something, they'll calm them down, say no, let her come in, and even when you see them before the program and they're interacting with the women and everything, it's very, very respectful. There's no sort of, you know, that because they, I mean, apart from anything else, they know that you know these women are kind of part of what's making the show so popular. But I would fundamentally disagree that they are in any way being sort of like deliberately derogatory towards the women. I mean, what's being displayed may appear derogatory, but that's often because of the way the women are behaving.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Oh no,
seriously.
Well, I think what you're mixing up is the message versus the entertainment part.
Okay.
They've seen Myron tell a girl, hey, do you understand? Like in a way that he kind of knows that she might piss back at him, and then he can boot her. Yeah. But that's the entertainment side of that show.
Okay, so that's what I don't like.
That's what you don't like.
Well,
the actual message.
It's the reason you're watching it.
Right.
It's the reason most people are watching it.
That is true.
Agreed.
It's the Jerry Springer of our age. This show.
Unfortunately, that's human nature.
Yeah,
Look at why was Jerry Springer so popular?
Speaking to the mic.
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
You're fine.
But just a couple of things. Just like, you know, it's not necessarily human nature, because you know, as we're all on podcasts and stuff, like it sits on YouTube. So if you watch something, then you're usually going to be served something again. So whereas normally in real life, if you don't like a conversation, you can just walk away. But do you know what I mean? On YouTube, it will just continue to serve things.
Do people? I don't agree with that. Do people walk away from I've seen people sitting there and arguing for hours in person. I don't think they walk away.
I think they do. I mean, yeah.
I don't think they do. People get into fist fights. Fist fights would not exist if people walked away from conversations.
But do you see what I mean? My point is just that, you know, it's not. It's kind of like an unnatural way to consume things like that, and I just think that. I just have a real issue with it, and so where I'm making a face is because it's my genuine reaction that it makes me uncomfortable, because I feel that they do a lot of damage to their audience.
But let's be real. Those women could give as good as they get as well, right? I mean, some of those women are like real, you know.
But the thing is, it's more about the audience, right? Like the people that are watching it, and if they go out into the world and then speak to women like that as well, or think it's okay, or don't understand, like, okay, we can understand, maybe because we're in it and we're exposed and all that kind of stuff, but the average person watching it, they don't necessarily understand that it's just dramatization. They don't get that.
But there's a lot of
that is wrong, and I think it's irresponsible to continuously perpetuate that kind of message.
But what are they? What are they? Right. They're not telling them how to. Like, I don't know. What have they specifically said where they tell men to like call women hoes or call women this?
No, but they don't have to do that. What it is about just subtly, repeatedly putting in certain messages into their content, or talking to women in a certain way, and repeating that process over and over again, where it becomes the norm. So therefore, you don't have to say that overt statement. You can just subtly.
But that's
say
you
something.
reading between the lines, though. That's you like taking how you. Like you can't say they didn't say it, but this is what they're saying.
But couldn't you say the same about like, you know, hip hop music and all that stuff? I mean, isn't it just like?
What are you saying? Sorry.
Well, that kind of terminology was used a lot, particularly like 90s like rap and all that kind of stuff. I mean,
and it's not right either. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but at the same time, if you walk in a club tonight, women everywhere are dancing and shaking their ass to these hoes. I'm cheating on this, and it's cool when it's Lil Wayne saying it.
Totally true.
They're super about. They love it. This is my shit. Blah blah blah. And then when it happens,
and that's the culture that Fresh and Fit. Very much tapped into, is that, you know, American rap culture.
So street kind of.
And
right?
And I get it.
So
But
the lingo is attached to that.
As a member of that culture, it's a bit much. That's what I'm saying.
I have a question for you. Have you ever really delved into Fresh and Fit's content? Do you watch it to a point where you could say, I understood their channel, I've watched their content? Because what some of the guests were saying were, you're only seeing their content from the viral clips, and the viral clips are the entertainment, and that's the stuff that would be deemed
but the thing is,
disagreeable.
I hear what you're saying, and this argument often comes up. But then the thing is, it's just like, well, if everybody's not watching, do you know what I mean? Like, if everyone's watching everyone's full content, then cool. Then we're on an equal stepping.
You have context.
That's not the same thing. And it's just like you get these headline type stats and things like that are used to make points, but I have to do a whole thesis on this to make a point.
It's not a full thesis. It's like, okay, I just understand a lot where they're coming. I agree. Like sometimes they're a bit rude for me. Like I understand where you're coming from, but it's just when you're running a show, a lot of times, like there are times where I'm very rude to a guest and I cut them off, but it's only because they've interrupted me 10 times. So
unreasonable.
Yeah. and as a show host, like you're very disrespected because you put on all this time into paying the producers, you put all this time into getting the guests, you put all this time and energy and effort just to have a guest that keeps interrupting you. Yeah. And so by the 10th time, you're like, bitch, shut the fuck up.
Like that's what most people do.
And a lot of times, like when their clips go viral, like, and I can't remember, I wish I could quote it off the top of my head, but I can't. But the one like rapper that came in that they kicked out that like went super viral. Yeah. It was because like he told them like 10 times to stop talking, and then she wouldn't do it, and she showed up late.
Basic.
Yeah, and she showed up late. Like these guys are pretty big guests for my.
We were there.
Yeah, and these guys were pretty big guests for my channel. They showed up on time, and like it's just, and it's just like. It's like a level of respect, and you don't always see the context of the room.
And I think that's something that most people don't understand about, Myron and Walter, Fresh and Fit, right? They're personal friends of ours. We love them to death. And they have, like, their hearts are in the right place. Yeah. They really, really want to tell both men and women. I can tell you this as a man who knows them personally.
All right.
But, again, to reiterate your point, that is, like, people have so much entitlement in today's day and age. They really do. Like, oh, I got invited on Fresh and Fit's podcast. Oh, cool. I'm going to rock up late, drink all their alcohol, have my social medias blown up by their 1 million subscriber audience, have all my OnlyFans account blown up by their 1 million subscriber audience, which does happen. We know it happens, right? And they're still going to speak out of line, be disrespectful to Myron because he said something they don't agree with. They're going to be really rude to him and try to talk over the top of him, right? Not obey the house rules like our producer here kind of laid down before. Similar thing, right? It comes from this place of entitlement. It's a real lack of respect.
But those are the women that they're inviting on there. I don't know how you guys can say, and they're your friends, so I feel I'm giving you a lot of grace. I think you're blinded by your friendship with these guys. But if they are really trying to help men, why do they have such a set type of woman that comes onto their show?
I can answer this.
Because they live in Miami.
And then be so horrible to them when you're really trying to help men, when a lot of these men have real problems with women in life. Like they have problems relating to them. And then you have these women who are representative of the beauties and they are allowed to cuss them. Do you not think that actually allows these hermits in their bedrooms with their mum upstairs feeling like I can do this to women as well?
So I actually understand a little bit like how recruiting works. And the thing is, again, as I said in the beginning of the podcast, it's not a good podcast if you don't bring on opinionated people with a conflict of ideas. So when you're recruiting, and I'll say this, like Fresh and Fit, their women on their show are not representative of all women. And I know this from recruiting.
Absolutely.
That's why I say polarity.
Yeah, but it's because like when you're trying to have a battle of ideas, you want two people on the extremes as much as you can. Like
this would be boring if we all agree. This is so boring.
Yeah. Like this is what we want.
But we can still have like respectful dialogue,
right?
Which we have.
I think we have. A lot of we have, and like you guys have been great guests. Like you've been super respectful. respectful, and you showed up on time. Like you did everything I could want from a guest. But sometimes I'm telling, oh God, these girls,
these ladies,
like they'll interrupt you a million times. They'll show up late. They'll.
But they had a girl on the other week when I was on it. They had a girl on, and she was. She had studied at an Ivy League, and she was very liberal, and she had a very feminist perspective and everything like that. And I don't know, maybe I'm just, biased or whatever, but I didn't see them treating her with disrespect. They allowed her to speak. They allowed her to make her points. She wasn't the archetype. I mean, I think she liked to go out and party or whatever, but she wasn't that archetypal, kind of fresh and fit type girl, really. And, I don't think... Like, you're presenting it like they're just going for the most egregious examples of that sort of stereotype, and I don't really think that they are. And I think they
have them on a lot, but I absolutely do get what you're saying. We can disagree on it.
From my experience with Myron, like, I started a YouTube channel that I only do it part-time, and before I started, I said to Myron, like, what do you think on this idea? Do you think it's a good idea? I knew it was someone that was going to give me the truth. It was someone that was, I saw always modeling to men and women the truth of things. So I thought, right, okay, I'm going to speak to him. And he was so respectful. He said, do you have any more questions? How else can I help you? Like, very different to probably what you're seeing on the podcast, right? Completely different person, really respectful, checking in, how you doing, what's happening. And I would just say that he did say things to me like, how old are you? And I was really concerned because, I'm not a young creator, and I thought that's going to hold me back. And he was like telling me the ways that I could maybe get around that. Nice. And my experience of him was nothing but like respectful.
Yeah, because what they're doing is a lot of these guys that watch this show, they do come for the red meat. But the genius of Fresh and Fit, the genius of Walt, the genius of Myron is that they're selling these guys what they want, but the undertone message is giving them what they need.
Bang. Yep.
And you have to understand, for the guy that's in Indiana and he's 18 and he's probably a bit immature and he likes to see the drama, he's seeing that. But when he goes to, let's say he gets married. Let's say he actually gets married. When he goes and he watches Fresh and Fit, he learns about hypergamy and female nature, which is the untold pillar that a man needs to have in his life, on top of normal competencies. What Walt and Myron are doing is, with extremism, showing that young man in that flyover state in America what to look for in that woman he marries in Indiana, and how to make her stay happy and how to keep the frame with her, because he understands female nature. Now, are they doing it with big glaring red flags and fireworks and WWF wrestling? Yeah. Yes, but without that, they will not tune in, and for that reason, they cannot save those young guys' lives. And I argue, and I really mean this, not only are they saving the young man's life, they're saving the woman's life, and they're saving the life of those children.
Amen.
But I would say the same even for like people like Pearl, right? Pearl's a female creator. She's not agreeing with everyone. She says the truth. Like when I first saw Pearl, didn't I say when I logged into your live chat and I said, Pearl, you just don't care. Like there's a certain entertainment to that. But like from getting to know Pearl, she's a good person. Like what you see isn't always like.
Well, and as an entertainer, you just come at it at like a different angle, because you have to be more extreme in order to get the message out, or people won't watch. Yep. Like for example, what was the title of this show? Ladies, let your man cheat. Because I want people to click on it. Now
we get all of that,
but I'm not even gonna I don't want to date a guy that's cheating. No offense.
It's an attention economy.
What?
We live in an attention.
Yeah, I get all of that, and I get everything that you guys are saying. I think you're negating though the social responsibilities, because you're like, it's saving these men and these women and these kids, but also what does it say to how men actually respect women? I would say that there is a lot to go against that framework, with the man can do what he wants and the woman must comply to that. The man can sleep with lots of other women, but you can't sleep with men. Like this inequality,
true, though.
I think that's actually like detrimental to just us having a modern society, just being respectful of each other. What their standpoints are so immature. And it comes up whenever they're with somebody who is actually in a relationship and they speak to them. And it's like it doesn't measure up because it's really immature. It doesn't measure up in the real world. So you're putting yourself in the framework as a coach, but what you're teaching people is actually really false, because how do they sustain a relationship? You may get a girl, you may be able to mac her and get her, but how are you sustaining that?
But
it's not
that's
going
what
to work.
you're missing on the Money Mondays and the fitness show.
Yes.
So if you
Money and fitness.
yeah, so they're teaching the money and the fitness and the style and the frame, and the frame really comes from the understanding of how female nature is, how what will drive a woman to do certain things, what keeps her happy.
Money and fitness.
No.
Okay.
It's the third pillar. It's the undertone. So there's all the red meat. There's all the cussing and the swearing and the things that draw people in. But the undertone message is teaching female nature. Another reason that Rolo's such a hero.
But they're wrong.
But they're not wrong.
They literally are
They're
in
absolutely
ways
not
wrong with
wrong.
female nature.
You can disagree with it.
How
Sorry.
do you think that they're wrong?
I think that they're wrong because it's unrealistic to place yourself as I'm allowed to do whatever I want and you must comply.
But
because
men aren't.
But that's
They
just
aren't.
not life.
Because let me tell you what they're not able to do. Be average, not produce.
Bingo.
Not create a life for a woman where she feels like it's the best life she could possibly live. Because in the event he does not do those things, she is fucking gone.
He didn't even get her in the first place.
Yeah.